Good morning, everybody. MMA Junkie Radio pre-show underway. I'm in a good mood today because if you look out into the sports book, and I'm going to do this for you guys next week, March Madness is upon us. This is my favorite time of the year. This is kind of like my Junkie Gathering.
Your Christmas?
My Christmas. Well, Christmas is pretty dope too, but this is, this is my Christmas. And so anyway, here at the Mandalay Bay Sportsbook, it gets packed. And right now, they're going through conference championship games. So there's a good amount of people here. You're going to hear a little bit more noise than usual. But come March Madness, it's deafening noise. They take, in front of our sportsbook, there are these little round tables. Round table. And they take those out, and they put out these long banquet tables. And it's kind of the same people every year that come out and occupy those. And then every other part of the sportsbook is just packed. If you want to make a bet, the line is almost in another hotel. That's how bad it can get. So, it's fun. By the way, and I guess I'll just say this out loud so you hear. On today's show, we'll have Joe Lauzon and also Shawn Jordan towards the end of the program. So, should be good there.
Yeah.
What's that, Dan?
I said, yeah.
Oh, okay. Good job. Yeah.
We are up in a minute, by the way.
Kind of, yeah. That voice you hear is Gorgeous George. He's there in the background. He has arrived, and he's wearing the vegetable lasagna shirt. One of my favorites. Danny, what's this stupid show? Well, all right, I won't call it stupid. I'm used to asking you anything that revolves around you criticizing it. What's the show you're talking about?
We're opening for 4 Years Strong. They're doing a 10th anniversary of their Rise or Die Trying album, and we get to open up their New Jersey stop of it. And
not to be a dick, but that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty big, especially because we played with them last year, too, so they asked us back.
That's cool.
So, yeah.
Do you like them?
The album.
Well, that's funny, because that's what I thought.
Wow, we're coming up from 10. That we may have made the reckoning list.
No. Nobody wants to be on Danny's reckoning list.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMA Junkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Gold. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goes.
From the fight capital of the world inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show. It's Thursday, March 9th. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me as always is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace producer, and back east handling all the producing duties. It's going to be Danny. What's up, guys?
Good morning, George. How are you?
Good. Looking forward to a fun show today. Shawn Jordan, Joe Lauzon. Our booker goes, man, SmackDown and Raw is going to come calling pretty soon because you've been booking pretty good for this week.
Not bad, right?
Yeah. Shawn Jordan fighting for a world title over at the World Series of Fighting.
I did do something.
They got something going on the 18th, the 20th, right? That was a late booking. Got to look the stuff up. But I know I've been getting the press releases I think they have 3 titles once again. Lance Palmer, Andre Harrison, Blagoy Ivanov, and Shawn Jordan. And then Joe Lauzon just signed on to fight as well. So can't wait to check that out. Catch up with them, talk to both of them. And you were on the verge of saying something.
Yeah, I did do something dumb, and I'm sure you've probably done it at some point, but it's one of those things where when you're doing late notice, you kind of double book a time when you have an intuition that somebody may not get back to you.
Right.
And I may have that person come back, and then I have to go back and say, hey, I filled
We
that
may have a
time.
third guest.
Yeah, where we had originally started.
Right.
So, but now that I know that the rest of the thing is free, then I'm sure we can.
Give me the
make it work.
times so I know what one takes.
So,
10:40 a.m. Pacific, 1:40 p.m. Eastern for Joe Lauzon.
Yeah, and then 11:30 is Shawn.
Shawn Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's.
So I'd have to push the other
Eastern.
gentleman earlier.
Right.
But
Okay. Well, we'll see what we can do. Have you had any correspondence with the other gentleman?
Not yet. No.
All right. Either way, it's going to be a fun show. I think today, finally, I'll get to reading some iTunes reviews, maybe catching up a little bit more on the social media aspect. I'm trying to bounce around between SoundCloud now and iTunes, of course, YouTube, Facebook.
It never ends.
It
Twitter,
doesn't. Trying to just go back and forth and let everybody know this is where we're at.
Snapchat.
Basically, have to hold some listeners by the hand and say, open the laptop, press on, find us. It's called MMAJ. You know what I mean? So it never hurts to always keep pushing that out there. If you want to talk to us, it's 866-522-2846. Hello, Jeffrey. That's our cousin from Tennessee.
Cousin, yeah.
He's making it very clear. He's sporting the big T on his cap. 866-522-2846. We got a lot of pockets to fill. Just 2 guests, so there'll be, it's a 2-hour show, and you have plenty of time to call in and just, voice your opinions on everything that's going on. I would say one of the biggest pieces of news is Tony Ferguson. He had an interview with our own Stephen Morocco, the Magnificent Morocco, as he's known around my neck of the woods. And what came out of that mostly was he didn't get the full disclosed pay. The Nevada State Athletic Commission, you can ask, because it's public records, you can ask for these salaries in certain states, and the commissions will oblige.
Mm-hmm.
And Nevada's one of them. So initially, we found out, what each fighter would be making. For example, Alistair Overeem and Mark Hunt took home $750,000 each. Habib was scheduled to make $500,000. He wasn't able to make the fight. We know that. And Tony Ferguson was going to make $250,000. He weighed in. There was no fight. It wasn't Tony's fault.
Right.
However, when he got wired, his pay, it was not $250,000. He's pretty upset.
Yeah, that does suck. I mean, the guy did everything that was asked of him, and he should be rewarded, right? And really, it's not even a reward, because the reward would have been a fight. But it didn't happen.
Right. Tony weighed in. He also had a rough weight cut. A lot of people don't know this, but he also had a rough weight cut, and he made it. Alistair Overeem also was sick within 24 hours of fighting. So, there was some stuff behind the scenes that we didn't know. Overeem was actually hospitalized twice, and he did not want to pull out no matter what. Imagine that hit that card would have taken to lose both of those fights.
Wow, that would have been rough.
That would have been
And they still
pretty
would have
brutal.
kind of pulled it off had the main event been somewhat decent, because the rest of the card, even if you take Overeem and Hunt off, was pretty fun.
Right. Now, Tony would have won $250,000 to win as well, in addition to $250,000 to show. The way he described it to Stephen Morocco, he's getting less than half of the $250,000. Mm-hmm. An anonymous source from the UFC told Morocco Tony got what he knew he was getting. Apparently, he said he or she said that the manager was also aware. Everybody signed off. I don't know if it was a verbal or a written, or Tony doesn't feel that way. He logged on expecting to see an extra $250K in his bank account. Now, the one part that I guess also struck me as odd was he said, after paying my coaches, this camp cost me, I'm breaking even or losing. I'm thinking, they are in the 6 figures. We don't know where they're at, but they are in the 6 figures. Who the hell has a camp that expensive?
Well, he doesn't leave home, right? So he stays home in his own bed, doesn't he?
He stays home in his own bed. He goes up to Bravos for jiu-jitsu, and then he does other stuff in the OC. I'm not sure if he's a wild card guy. for the boxing or what. I mean, he travels that circuit. SoCal's got a circuit of they don't all go to these
Kings,
gyms, but
there's
Kings, there's Ruka. There used to be Mark Munoz's gym back in the day, the Wild Card Gym, Glendale, Eddie Bravo, the Gracie Gym. So, you know, a few of these guys hit some of those gyms. But, you know, when Tony tries to sell a fight, he really goes over the top. I think that might have been a bit much. A six-figure camp?
I don't know. I mean, I guess, all right, play devil's advocate. You bring in nutritionists. What else?
Sparring partners, coaches.
Because now we're saying that these guys are starting to get to that level.
Traveled to Vegas. I think he paid an additional. You know, you get the one corner man, and you know, you get the.
Still seems kind of high though.
It does, yeah. Well, anyway, I don't know how that's going to get sorted out. Apparently, from the UFC side, they're saying we're good. We paid what we said we were going to get paid. Now, imagine this kind of goes in line with he was going to take a pay cut if he fought Johnson. I wonder if all that got misinterpreted. I wonder if he thought, don't fight, you're going to get your show, and he's thinking $250K. Fight Michael Johnson, and we revert back to a different type of a contract because this isn't for an interim title. You'd be fighting Michael Johnson for 15 minutes. And so I think he thought, don't fight, collect $250K, and now I'm the leader in the Conor McGregor sweepstakes. Or if I have to, I'll fight Khabib again sometime this summer.
Do you remember what I told you?
Versus, you know, this other, let's just say he went back to 100 and 100, which would be less than the $250K. Who knows? Maybe somewhere along there it got lost. I heard it was a 4-hour meeting. He was there. Maybe not 4 constant hours, but just being in the presence of those offices. But if your manager's there, this has to be pretty clear cut to somebody.
Yeah, it definitely has to be. And paperwork had to have been signed. But do you remember what I told you the night of the fight? When we talked about should he have taken the fight and should he have not? I told you I respect the guy and I understand why he didn't. But with this new regime, and especially after coming through that whole little holdout and all that, I feel like you just can't leave money on the table with these people. I would have fought. It may not have been the best conditions, but I just feel like you cannot leave money on the table right now. Not with these guys.
Yeah. It's tough to say. You've also said that you feel he's already the first contender for Conor McGregor. So by not fighting, he also, on your scorecard, earned that right. So if he's hanging back, still cashing a $250,000 check, and he's next for Conor McGregor, and it works out, it's kind of a genius move. And you had to avoid the Russian.
Yeah.
You know?
But if you have the chance to make more money.
I'm not presenting a case from Tony's side of, whew, I had to avoid the Russian. He looked like he was ready to take out the Russian himself with his bare hands. But you know what I mean. When you enter that cage, anything can happen. Tony Ferguson's had a few losses. It's not like he's undefeated. Most fighters will lose at some point.
Yeah.
866-522-2846. If you want to chime in on anything that's going on in the sport, that's kind of the big news. Looking back, would you have taken the fight, Junkie Nation? That's what I want to know. Just go off of $250K to not show, and more than likely you're next, or maybe you have to fight again versus fighting Michael Johnson, a guy that has beaten you. You get a chance to write that, and you save the card, and you're also eligible for the $50,000 performance bonus, let's say. You stay active, you stay, fluid, your timing, another chance to grab the
release.
mic. Yeah, the release.
You're right. Another chance for everybody to see you again and see what you're all about.
Right.
You get to avenge a loss. So not only that, you get the guy on less than 24 hours notice.
Right. There's pros and cons everywhere. I think I'm with you, man. It probably would suck, though, to hear, okay, but your pay goes down.
Yeah, but
that's the part where I think maybe a harder negotiation. I mean, they were running out of time. Michael Johnson was in the seat past 12 p.m., and I guess they needed a decision by 4 p.m. Why that number, I don't know. Maybe for an actual presentation at the weigh-ins.
Because you have to weigh in.
Yeah, not the real weigh-ins, but the one that's attended by the general public. So the clock was ticking. Man, I don't know.
But don't you look
Yeah.
at Nogueira sitting in that seat the other day, right?
Yeah.
You think of guys like Matt Hughes, Forrest Griffin, the guys that we all called company guys, the guys that Rich Franklin that just did these type of favors. Man, just it seems like they had a good life, a good career. Chuck Liddell. I don't know if I want to be the guy on the other side, stirring things up like a Tyron Woodley, right?
Well, I don't know, man. I think I would have fought. I'm not going to sit on the fence. I'll pick a side.
And I'm not
I think I
shitting
would have
on him
fought
for not doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be clear. I'm
It
not
is
shitting on him.
It is a tough decision.
I understand why he did it, but my personal preference is I don't think you can leave money on the table with these guys. So I would have just done it because of that.
Down south, way south, in another hemisphere, is John Morgan, along with probably Cold Coffee, Ken Hathaway, or maybe Justin, our other videographer. And they are sending back videos of the Media Day face-offs. UFC Fight Night 106 is this Saturday on Fox Sports 1. 10 fights on Fox Sports 1, 2 on the Fight Pass. So the UFC train just keeps going. You'll see some stare-downs between Vitor Belfort and Kelvin Gastelum. Looks like Belfort's done with the Mohawks, the faux hawks,
He looks so much bigger than him, though.
everything that's got going on. A little bit. I'd say there's probably about a 2-inch height advantage, maybe. Yeah, he looks different. He is campaigning for a League of Legends in the UFC. I think I saw a version of it, but I'm willing to hear them out again. But about 10 years ago, the IFL had coaches fight. A couple of them turned out okay. A couple of them turned out bad. And at that point, I thought, are we ruining? Well, they're collecting a paycheck, but they don't deserve some of the boos that come, because they got to those positions by being the superstars that they are. If they just ain't got it, they ain't got it. And this is a young man's sport. Imagine now with enhanced testing, you're just, I don't know what you're going to be treated to. I think maybe that's what the grappling circuit for. Maybe you can have.
Definitely wouldn't be under the same rules, right? 5 minutes, maybe 2.5, 3.
Like, don't you think there could be an organization out there that has a hybrid card where they go, on Saturday we're going to have 5 grappling exhibitions, or use EBI rules or whatever competitions, and then we're going to import the boxing ring and maybe just have Vanderlei and Vitor do it again, but with boxing gloves for 6 rounds, 3 minutes each. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Instead of some sort of a big competition that I had to pay $800 to get into, something that kind of satisfies both worlds a little bit, but still is highlighted by some big names.
We've been saying if you want to make your weigh-ins, your ceremonial weigh-ins, a little bit more sexy, maybe that would be a place to do something like that.
Could be, yeah. So a lot of stuff trickling in from Fortaleza, Brazil. That's where the event takes place on Saturday. We caught up with Daniel Cormier yesterday. Daniel mad. No, I'm just kidding. He was, but now he's thinking about the repercussions from previous posters where the challenger kind of had a more imposing profile on the poster versus the champ, the featured champ. So by the time we were done interviewing, he was not mad. He was not furious. He was laughing it off, and he said, whatever. He's over it. What we're talking about is the UFC 210 poster where AJ, Anthony Johnson, is really huge in the background, and Daniel Cormier is front and center. He does have the belt over his shoulder, and, it clearly shows him as the champion, but I guess I could see what he's talking about. It almost looked like John Voight, in the new King Kong movie, and then just King Kong's in the back, and obviously we know they can't go head-to-head. John Voight's going to have he better have some sort of a plan, otherwise that gorilla's going to take him out. Guess that's some of the big stuff that's out there. A few fight bookings took place, and we can definitely, chat about that. A lot of recaps from some of the interviews we had last week. Cage Warriors has announced their co-main event of Chris Fishgold and Yanni Salmi. Joe Lauzon, our guest today, has been added to UFC Fight Night 105 in Nashville, which is really about 5 weeks away, so I don't know how long ago he started his camp. He's facing Stevie Ray. Rashad Evans not ready to retire. He says, quote, I know I'm better than this. So lots of stuff going on. Hit us up, 866-522-2846. We're going to sneak in one phone call here because he's been waiting the longest by far. Then we'll do our big commercial, and then we'll start firing away on some calls and get to Joe Lauzon, too, at 10:40, right, guys?
No. This is all in the second hour.
Oh, all in the second hour.
Yeah,
You sure
yeah.
about Joe Lauzon? You texted me something different.
I might be dumb, but that's what I told him.
All right, let's talk to Mike from Jersey. What's up, Mike?
Not too much. Just getting ready for a big snowstorm out here on the East Coast.
Again?
3 to 6 inches, I heard. they're gonna get.
Another snowstorm? When does it end? We're in March for crying out loud. They're going to change. Aren't we going to get the fall back spring ahead?
Global warming, man.
I was sweating a little bit. I had to turn on the AC on the way to work today.
This morning?
Yeah.
Huh.
Another snowstorm. Get out of there. Move west.
If I could talk my wife into moving to Vegas, I absolutely would.
Have her shovel the snow for a few days. Say, hey, we're switching the jobs here. You do that, and then let's let reconvene.
Yeah, I'll see how well that goes over. I just wanted to chime in on the flyweight division. Yesterday, you guys had Demetrius on, and you had Benavidez on a while back, and he said he wanted Demetrius or Pace, and now they're pitted against each other. It looks like the chips have fallen with everybody else, and he wanted to fight on that May card, which also looks full. Kind of looks like Joe B's shit out of luck, and that really sucks. I was wondering what you guys thought might happen with him. Would he fight like an undefeated scrub like Jared Brooks, or would he get like somebody that's ranked?
Why you got to call him a scrub?
Hey, he's undefeated.
I don't know, man. You're right. Hitting that point at Dallas as well. It did not go his way. I've never known him to be someone who's been cast outside, that little fun-loving circle, maybe their favorites. He's a Vegas guy. I think when they need him to do something with the boys and girls, they'll call on him. His wife's part of the UFC. I don't know. I mean, he did the coaching stint. I thought he did great on the coaching stint, too.
I thought if anything came out of yesterday's interview, it was a little bit of closure. And it was something that Demetrius said. He just said Dana just doesn't want to see it.
Yes, you're right. That was highlighted. You're right.
And once he said that, it was just kind of like okay, now this kind of all makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he had that feeling towards Ortiz and Liddell, and then there was a time where there was some reshuffling with the Ultimate Fighter, and somebody said, so we get to see Tito and Chuck a third time, and he just kind of shrugged, kind of like, what do you want from me? Like, I tried everything I could to not do this, but we're rolling with it. I think he's going to reach that point because I just don't see if Joseph fights someone else and wins how you ignore him again. I think by that point you don't have anything. There isn't the champion of the flyweight season. There isn't Wilson Hayes, who we promised a shot, last year. There just isn't anything else out there. So he's probably going to have to just take one more fight.
What I want to see even less is, Joe B go up to 135. That would be awful.
He did well there. He did really, really well there. So it's not like he can't compete, but I think the sport's also changing. And hearing Demetrius' side of it, the size, man, it can make a difference. And plus, these guys are now crossing 30 years old. They're starting to look at, well, what am I going to do afterwards? I also have more information now on, TBI. I think your lifestyle, you start to become less reckless and more mature and more responsible for your own health. So I don't know. It's just going to have to call for another Joseph Benavidez spot on the MMAjunkie Radio show
He's in town.
To see how he's doing, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. You have a good show.
All right, buddy. Thank you. All right, so we're going to do one more. And then, no? Commercial?
Don't you want to say hi to your cousin Jeffrey?
Hi, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay. Yeah, take that call.
Oh, okay. Showtime from Tennessee. What's up, Showtime? It's yo time.
What's going on, fellas?
Not much. And you?
Nothing much, man. My bad the other day, man. I heard you talking. I was in a bad area, and my phone just went freaking dead, man. So my bad on that. I stun-gun myself for that bad cell service.
What area were
man,
you?
I want to make a comment. Actually, I was going to Arizona. Actually, I'm in Texas right now. It's like 76 degrees right now where I am.
All right.
I was going to surprise you guys and make a little unofficial trip out to Vegas, man. I was looking, man, the rooms were high as heck. I didn't realize that they were having the basketball tournament out there. I was going to shoot over from Phoenix, get a rental and just shoot over for a day and a half, but I ended up not coming. But
These are the conference tournaments. Next week's the real March Madness.
Yeah.
But these are the conference tournaments, so there's a few more people here in the sports book, and there will be throughout the weekend because these tournaments are big. A lot of people are traveling here for them, but it's nothing compared to March Madness. Next week, as of like Wednesday night, it's going to be insane as it can get here in the sports book. So if if your schedule allows it, roll through. We have your book signed too by Stitch Duran.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that, man. I can't wait to get out there and get it. As of right now, won't be out there until gathering, but who knows? If I get out to Arizona again, it's nothing for me to just shoot over. Man, I was calling about, man, I was looking at the pay from the past fight card, man, and I was looking at the big discrepancy in money. I'm not a hater. I don't like to hate on nobody money, but you got a guy like Mark Hunt making $700,000, $750 or whatever, and you got a guy like Tony Ferguson basically making peanuts compared to that, man. And you got a guy that's a 12-11-1. That's Hunt record, man. And I really just don't like that, man. I really don't.
Well,
I'm
he's headlined events. He's fought for a world title. He's been around the sport for a long time. He came over from Pride, and they had a certain payroll there that was high, and so I think the UFC felt like they had to match some of it coming forward. I don't know if you know the story. When he came over, they actually said, sit out that last fight. We'll just pay you. He said, no, I want to fight. So, he won the hearts of the Fertittas and Dana White. He went out there. He fought. And then, after a few years, he just started having some of these walk-off KOs, man. And the heavyweights have traditionally always made more, than some of the lighter weight classes. So I think, to be fair, he has punched that clock. He's put in some time. And I think Ferguson's starting to get there. But some of it may also have to do with, something Frank Trigg told us a long time ago. You're worth what you negotiate. Some of those guys in Pride, they negotiated bigger contracts. And I think Pride also, they had deeper pockets at the time, so they were writing out some checks. In the UFC, I think the guys are now starting to stand up for themselves a little bit more, but it's going to take some time for them to catch up.
Yeah, I understand that. Like I said, I'm not trying to knock Hunt because I respect him, man, as a fighter. And I was looking, he fought some battles and some warriors, man. I just think that discrepancy is kind of crazy, man. And I hope they do something about it, in the future with some of these guys basically fighting for peanuts, man. Mm-hmm. That's basically all I wanted, guys.
Okay, bud. Take care.
All right, man.
Well, one thing I'll say is Ferguson's kind of doing a little bit of what I said. He is fighting for, some more money. He got some more money for this fight. I didn't know that he was that high at 250 and 250, but he fought for himself, so good for him. I guess the UFC pushed back a little bit because the Khabib fight wasn't going to happen, so there's going to be a little bit of that back and forth. But, one thing we can give the UFC is salaries have gotten better as long as we've been covering them consistently. It's just not at the jump that some would like.
So is revenue.
Yes, correct. It's not, a lot of the hardcore fans want those higher jumps.
Careful
crying out
what
loud.
you wish for.
Who was saying, oh boy, somebody on a chat, somebody wanted
was it a Muppet?
Maybe Ryan Vaughn. No, not him. It was, oh boy. I'm stretching it out here as we go to a commercial. Somebody wanted $2 million payouts. And the way they were putting it out there was just like, come on, this and that. And
for everyone?
Oh, dude, why is it not? It was literally about a week ago. And I think it had to do with Facebook. And I said, I'm out. I'm just going to bow out. You're right. I'm arguing with the Muppet. This ain't going to work. It was from World Series of Fighting Global. Not Whitey. What am I saying?
Jason Lilly?
No. Bootsy.
Oh, okay.
Bootsy, yeah.
Whitey.
No, I struggle for names. Sorry. No, I know Bootsy. Who, by the way, should get in here and co-host an episode sometime. Him and I talked about that before. But he wanted $2 million paydays, man. And
for every fighter on the card?
No, $20 million paydays for, the Diaz brothers. That's what it was. $20 million paydays is what he wanted.
Jesus Christ. They'll never fight again.
So I thought he's got to be.
That's the end of that.
He's got to be trolling me. So I go, I'm just going to bow out, and I left the thread. But anyway, all right, we'll be right back after this break.
what they say, and your life will be a lot better. Here are Gorgeous and Goes.
I'm just gorgeous, huh?
I've had this hair somewhere on my face where if I look down, I can see it floating, and I can never find it. And one day I did find it, and it was like growing out of here or something.
It's not an eyelash or something?
No, it's there every day.
I have one hair that comes out of the top of my ear. And like every 3 weeks, I just have to
really?
pull it. Yeah.
I have, watch this, see right here? I have one eyebrow, lash, whatever it's called. That's just super long. Like, it'll grow really long.
Get a pair of tweezers, but the problem is you're going to get addicted to it. I almost go in front of the magnifying mirror, get 10 times the strength, and then you'll see a couple, and then you pull it out, but then obviously they grow back. But I think it's way better than the times I've gone. And I remember when I was a kid, we went to Peru or something, and my mom goes, "That's your uncle. Oh, hi," and then you go and give a hug and a kiss, and I mean, there'd be like big old hairs coming out of the ears.
Peru is
I just remember making a mental note going, ooh, when I get to that age, there's a few things I got to make sure I stay on top of, and that's one of them. All right. I want to make sure, goes, both guests are in the second hour.
Yes.
And they're back-to-back.
11:30, 11:40.
All right. Do you mind if I do a couple iTunes reviews? We asked for them, and we got them.
Sure.
So our policy's always been to read them all. Holy cow, a week early. That's one of the Nielsen brothers. UCLA. Oh, that's the Bruin hat, huh? Aren't they like a week early?
Pretty much.
Yeah. Wow, that's going to be a long stay if they're here all the way through March Madness.
Thursday? Yeah,
today's Thursday, yeah. I bet you this is 2 possible trips. Let's see here. I'll tell you what. Let me get my shit together here with iTunes. I'll come back to it. I got distracted.
You got distracted by that ugly hat that just walked past.
Yeah, you're here a week early, aren't you?
Going to the game.
Oh, okay.
With you tonight, right?
Yeah.
Go?
And then you have a ticket?
Not yet.
Oh, and then you're back next week, or you're staying the whole way through?
No, I'm gonna take one day off, go back to work, come back, visit you again Wednesday.
Okay.
Yeah, doing the Lord's work.
Danny's gonna be here Wednesday. Come with him.
You need bigger seats.
Yeah, really. We're gonna have to reinforce. All right. Okay. You can hang out if you want, or whatever.
This is my buddy Pete.
Oh, how you doing?
Hi.
I'm staying here.
Huh?
I'm staying here till Sunday.
Okay.
See you in a bit.
All right.
That was a very important individual, in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah, we're in a sports book. We're in a public setting, so stuff goes down. Hal from Chicago. What's up, Hal?
Flexibility for the mind is like obesity for the body. You got to think about that, man. Think about that.
I missed the first part.
What?
Distractibility for the mind is like obesity for the body,
Oh.
Getting distracted.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, George, great reference to Goodfellas the other day. I was dying.
Which
when
one?
He said the Spencer guy. And he said, are you like Henry Hill when he walks Karen up to the door and then just kind of puts his hand out and walks away? The best, dude. You're the king of that. Very good, man. I got a Junkie Radio blast. I'm here down in Texas, so can I get these guys on here? They got a request for the Royal Rumble. Goes are doing this Royal Rumble on a Friday at the Gathering, and these guys are all anxious. So let me get them in here real quick.
Pass the phone around.
Hey, guys, this is Ray from San Antonio. Hey, I was just wondering if you guys could have Ray Rodriguez and make sure you guys tune in this Friday to watch Ray smash some shit up. I'm not talking about myself in the third person. I'm talking about Ray Rodriguez. He's going to be fighting in Legacy Fighting Alliance. And, yeah, it's going to be a lot of white girls there. So come on down. Have fun. All right, hold on.
Thanks, Ray.
Morning, fellas.
Hey, Joe.
Hi, it's Joe from H-Town. And I know Gold doesn't like it when people request stuff, especially if it comes from me. But I got a small request. If you guys, as long as Rusty Poo doesn't get mad, could you make sure DC comes in the Royal Rumble? Well, that'd be great. I'm former #1 caller. Please honor my request.
You got it.
We'll work on it.
All right. Here you go, Aaron. Hey, guys, what's up? It's Aaron from Texas.
What's up?
Hey, guys, couldn't get the judge spot this Friday, so sorry about that. I want to apologize to Junkie Nation. I will not be judging or refereeing this Friday, so sorry about that, guys. Really sorry about that. But just to mix it up, though, could you maybe have Veronica come in as number 10? That would be great. Talk to you guys later. Take care, y'all.
All right. There you have it. A Texas blast there, courtesy of Hal from Chicago. Moving on here. Speaking of Texas, they're in the house. Marco from Waco. What's up, Marco?
Marco from Waco. A little bit offended, Howell. Come on, dude.
What did he say?
He usually calls with me, but it's all right.
Oh. How you doing? Hey, his Aaron needs a little work on the back end, but his opening was real good.
The intro
he
was
sounded
really good.
spot on.
His
to Aaron
connection
from
should have
Texas.
just dropped, right? It was
Right.
really good coming in.
Yeah.
Hey, Joe from Houston is awesome. He sounds just like Joe. Hey, a little bit of a blast on Ben Rothwell, well known that he tested positive for something.
Mm-hmm.
He does his Facebook excuse. Now, I'm getting a little bit sick and tired of these professional athletes, first Cyborg, now Ben, the after the fact are coming with excuse. I mean, we already know the deal. You said that it's not like they haven't been around for a while, and it's not like you guys don't know the rules. If you even go to the doctor to get an aspirin, just check with USADA, give them a call, find out if what you're taking is going to be freaking checking out, or get an exemption, because these after-the-fact excuses, man, makes me roll my eyes. I mean, Cyborg got her previous issues with PEDs. That's why we roll our eyes when she tested positive. Rothwell has his previous issues with elevated testosterone. That is what I'm rolling my eyes right now. You guys are supposed to be professionals. Act like it, and do the right thing. If you're going to take an aspirin, check with USADA. We'll release you guys. Catch you guys tomorrow.
All right. We'll see you, Marco.
Sounds more like he's rolling his R's in his eyes, right?
Here, I'm going to read you what Ben Rothwell did right. He said, with the recent news received from USADA, I would like to take the time to let everybody know I've been under the care of a physician trying to overcome a mental illness. I would appreciate the chance to show that I have not cheated, nor did I intend to cheat. Please hold your opinions of me until all the facts are out. I appreciate everyone's support as I go through the process with USADA. So I don't even know what this will have to do with. Is he asking for a retroactive TUE? Does that anything you take from in regards to TUE can affect anything you would take from mental illness? I don't think so. I don't think that correlates with what Cyborg did. So I will afford him the chance. To let the facts come out and then see what happened. I do agree with what Marco's saying, though. I think we've reached the point where you do need anything that's ingested should be cleared in one way or another. Otherwise, you may run into this. And this comes from a Ben Rothwell friend and fan, so take that for what it's worth. All right, let's go to Rodney in San Antonio. What's up, Rodney?
Hey, boys. I was just fucking with you when I sent the picture. I was over there at 10 o'clock on a Friday night to lay some wood on Darren Elkins, Kelly, and Tamer. And by the way, they financed my trip to Vegas, obviously, because you know how that ended.
Why didn't you come by during show hours?
I was over at Extreme Couture Training. I was supposed to be fighting on the card here in San Antonio tomorrow. And I was linked to one opponent that bitched out, and then I was told from another local promoter that they found somebody. That person also pushed out. Mark Vieri emailed me, asked me if I would jump up to 85. I said, fuck yeah. I said, I'll fight King Kong. I don't give a shit who it is. So that brings me to the reason for my call, though. Y'all fielded a question about Tony Ferguson.
Yeah.
And it's easy for a caller to call in and say, well, yeah, I'd do it. Well, let me tell you, I just proved to you that I would do it for $500, let alone $500,000. So the answer is hell yes. And a couple things. I'm bummed I didn't get to see y'all, but I will be there in July for Fight Week. Also, I went to the MMA Awards. I went to the fight. Had a great time there. It was awesome. And I'm glad y'all had Ray on yesterday. It was an awesome interview. He's one of my coaches. He's one of my training partners here in San Antonio. Super proud of that guy. Looking forward to his fight tomorrow. We've also got one of our black belt instructors. His name is Gleason Cutis, a.k.a. Pony. He's a black belt from Brazil. He's a badass fighter. He's fighting there as well. And, man, it's been a long time, man. I haven't talked to y'all, so it's good to finally catch up with the show, man. I haven't been able to listen because of the Sirius. I used to listen at work on Sirius. That was the only way I could listen to the show, but I'm off today.
Can I ask you a question?
Well, also we're on the SiriusXM on demand. So if you have Sirius, you have access to their on demand. So all you have to really do is play us during the time that we used to be on.
And I'm not trying to be a smartass.
I meant as far as like listening live.
Oh, I see. Okay, goes.
I'm not trying to be a smartass, but I actually want to know so that I don't make this mistake. What does laying wood mean? I thought that means you're plowing through women.
That's one thing. Yeah.
No. In the car business, we used to say that about making a bunch of money. Like if you made a deal, like if you sold a car and you knocked somebody's head off and you made like $4,000 like commission in your pocket, you'd be like, yeah, I just fucking sold a Toyota Tundra, man. I laid wood on that bitch. Fucking, you know what I mean? So yeah, I guess in a way, kind of it is. It's like laying money down and winning big.
All right, cool. Well, good to hear from you, my man, and hopefully we get to meet you sometime.
Oh, very soon, gentlemen. Have a good weekend.
You too. All right, let's take another break here. Listening to MMA Junkie Radio live on, on SiriusXM Rush 93. We'll be right back after this break. We'll take more calls, 866-522-2846, and then I really will get to the iTunes reviews this time.
Follow my every step. Take notes on how I prep. I'm about to go in depth. This is the way I greet my season. Here's my ghetto rep. I kept, to say the least, no, it can't cease. So I begin to piece my 2 and 2 together. Got no snowy weather. Have to find something to do better. Bet.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been, and because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes, and this is MMA Junkie Radio.
So we pat down TSA agents, but we come back to this soft song.
Who is this?
I don't know.
This is Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah, he picked that. You didn't even hear it.
Oh, all right. Who sings this? Hall of Fame? That's the name of a band?
No, it's the script.
Oh,
I've
song's
heard this
called
before.
Hall of Fame. Yeah.
You have a problem with this?
It's kind of soft.
Really?
Well, I mean, Rock just finished saying we pat down TSA agents.
We do because we can.
Wait,
So
Wait, I got it. I'll fix it.
I thought we were going to come back to some Metallica. We're patting down some TSA agents. Hello, Jay.
Okay, let me.
Hello, Jay.
They pat down TSA agents because they don't know where those people have been. And because they can. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Our producer's off the rails.
Is MMA Junkie Radio.
I tried to fix it. Sorry.
Wow. Steal a line from you? Wow.
Hey, you know what I was laughing about the other day, George?
What's up?
Danny spending 24 hours in the hallway of an emergency room on a bed.
Oh, yeah. God, that was a nightmare. Hey, this is
like 40 hours.
This is a thread from the underground. MixedMartialArts.com. Been going there for years, so I like to give them some love. They're very nice to me over there, Chris and Kierik. Mm-hmm. And even though I'm not as active as others, I still lurk. Dick Niaz came up with this thread. It was interesting. He said, looking up and down the list of current UFC champions, there are numerous weight classes. Oh, hold on. I'll take a Heineken. And numerous weight classes where an argument can be made that the champ is not the best in his or her group. Way more today than any other time in recent history. I think back to 2012 when almost in every division the champ was unquestionably the best. Kane, Jones, Silva, GSP, Aldo, Cruz, Johnson. And I thought about that and I went, whoa, he's got a point there. I mean, it was hard to question all that.
Yeah.
And he says, today is a different story. He starts with Stipe. Might be the best at the moment, but a case could be made that Kane or Verdum would beat Stipe today. Yeah. But he clearly beat clearly beat Verdum. So Verdum has to get to the point where he can prove that. And Kane's just kind of fallen off. I think Stipe, his 2016 was amazing. I think he's clearly the number one right now. Now, the only one that maybe has a case is JDS, who beat him.
But even then, it's not like he ran through him either.
No, he didn't run through him. But yeah, so I would politely disagree. Now, on Cormier, he says, I think most feel that Jones is clearly the best, even with his time away. And I'll grant him that. Jones beat him 2 years ago now. It was a January fight, so a little over 2 years ago. And, I mean, the proof was in the pudding. Jones has had his outside troubles. He may or may never come back. We don't know. We're hoping that he does, honestly. And that's just a tough one. But I think if he pulled some hardcore fans, I bet you at least 50% would say, oh, yeah, it's still Jones. Maybe another 50 would say, hey, that ship sailed. He couldn't handle it. Cormier's my guy. I don't know. Bisping, he says, to me, this is the clearest case of a champ not being the best in his division. He says he'd probably be an underdog to Yol, Jacare, Rockhold, and Weidman. He's probably right on that comment about the underdog. I think odds makers would side with the others. But, Bisping is on a 5-fight win streak. He just knocked out Rockhold. Sorry, not just knocked out, but, and defeated two other tough, yet aging middleweights. But I would say that of the three I've just said so far, yes, he would probably be one that might fall into that category. Now he says he goes on with Woodley. Remains to be seen, but he sure didn't look head and shoulders above the rest last weekend. Also, despite GSP fighting next at 185, he's a welterweight. So many, including me, would put him ahead of Tyron without hesitation. I think he's probably right. Connor at lightweight. He says, in my opinion, he is the best, but would have to see him fight Nate at 155 to be sure. Now, see, I would disagree with that because he's 1-1 against Nate. So we can just start with Nate. And then I think Tony and Habib are tough 55ers. I think Connor may be favored over Tony, but he wouldn't be over Habib. And I'm not sure he can be either guy. But, again, I think there's more to prove there from Connor. We move on to Jose. He says this is a weird one. The real champ had to give up his belt. He's referring to Connor. Jose definitely was the best before Connor. And he showed it against Frankie. But Max is on a tear and is the interim champ. So I don't know if Jose's the clear-cut best. Do you agree with that?
I think it's a clear-cut best.
So do I. And I think it's up to Max to prove it in June that he's not. But Max is on a tear. Jose answered many critics by whitewashing Frankie. I mean, he really made Frankie look like he just didn't belong there. Mm-hmm. And Frankie's awesome. So I think Jose holds on to that. That was an upset with what happened with Connor. And, no, I shouldn't say that because perhaps Connor would do it again, but we've only gotten one chance to see it. So at this moment, Connor's not in that division. I think Jose's clear. He says, Cody, many would have a good night. Many would say he had a good night against Dom, but Cruz is still the better fighter. I thought Garbrandt proved he was the better fighter.
Well, just by winning, you prove you're the better fighter.
Yeah, Cruz has had the better career so far, but I think that night he dominated him so much that he proved he was the better fighter. He goes on to say others would say TJ could make that claim. He could, but he's not the champ. He was the champ, but Cody is undefeated. He looked great. I mean, great against Cruz, who split decision TJ. We're getting into MMA math, but that's what I feel. I think Cody has proven he's the best right now at that division because of what he did to Dominic Cruz. Last one is Mighty Mouse, the most obvious clear-cut best in any division. I think we all agree, and just shut it down there. No, excuse me. He included the ladies. Nunes with the belt changing hands in 3 of the last 4 fights. Who knows how long her reign will last, but with Nunes destroying Tate and Rousey the way she did, I think it's pretty clear she's the obvious choice for now. Is she the obvious choice?
I think she is.
Yeah.
The girl right beneath her, she has a win over.
Who does she hold a loss to? Kat, right?
Zingano.
All right. And she did beat Shevchenko. Wow. You think she'll be favored against Shevchenko?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. All right. And Joanna, easily the best. So I think Joanna and Mighty Mouse are probably like head and shoulders above anyone else. Correct?
Correct.
And then I think the champions that may not be regarded their best. Yeah, I don't even think Bisping would argue. I mean, he upset Rockhold that night. He wasn't the odds-on favorite. But I think an argument could also be made for maybe Max. I mean, 10 fights is something else. For sure, Jones. So Bisping's not alone in that category. But it was interesting. Again, going back to years ago when it was Kane, Jones, Anderson Silva, GSP, Aldo, Cruz, Johnson. Wow. That's an imposing lineup. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You look at that and you go, God, who's going to beat those guys? Now you look at the champs, and that's how much better mixed martial arts has gotten, where you start saying, well, that guy might take out the champ, and this guy might take it. And in a year, with some seasoning, this guy might, blah, blah, blah. So great thread by Diaz. What was it? Dick Niaz on the Underground. All right, folks, when we come back, I really will get to the iTunes comments this time. We'll also welcome Shawn Jordan fighting at World Series of Fighting for their heavyweight division title against Blagoy Ivanov. We'll talk to him. Also talk to Joe Lauzon. He recently got added to the card in Nashville. We'll be right back.
Las Vegas turning day.
said, I could tell you rock, I could tell by your charm. Far as girls, you got a flock. I could tell by your charm and your arm, but I'm looking for the one. Have you seen her? My psychic told me she have a like Serena, Trina, Gina for Lopez, 4 kids, and I gotta take all they bad to showbiz. Okay,
all right, here we go. It's the second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. Goes, can you either help me out or can someone from Junkie Nation call in? How do I clear my cookies? If I clear my cookies, then all these dumb little ads will stop popping up, right?
No.
Here's the one that's bugging me the most.
They'll still pop up.
When I go to the underground, it doesn't have it on Junkie, thank God. I have to stare at this chick every single day. Because once I get past the stories, oops. I think one day I just got caught in one of those, see what celebrities look like now. And then you start drifting off into like a countdown or other stuff.
Yeah.
Now she's not popping up when I need it the most. Let me hit this. If I hit a thread, this one. I've stared at that picture I don't know how many times.
What is that?
That's 21 celebrities who lost their looks and will make you shiver. Harrison Ford has pretty much given up on his son. I don't know. Like, how do I get rid of that?
I'm still trying to figure out. I don't even know who that all right, so here. I don't think this is going to help. Well, no. Wait, it should help. You always use Safari?
Yeah. Well,
right.
Sometimes I've been using Chrome as of late.
Go ahead and talk.
Oh, okay. So we're back, and you're listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show. I'm going to read off some iTunes comments. I think we got to go back to like last August or something like that to catch up. Our quest is to get to as many comments as possible, but one immediate goal we had set for ourselves was 500, and we're at 492. So if you listen to the show via iTunes,
this is all the
get rid of all that bullshit, please. If you listen to us via iTunes, what helps us tremendously in the rankings is your downloads, obviously. So tell a friend, please, about the website.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing you can do is leave us a review. You can rate us 1 to 5 stars. I read them all. If you give us anything less than 5, at least tell us what we're doing wrong. We'll try our best to get better. And but we always read the comments and where you're from and all that. The more details, the better. So I think I'm going to go back to this one. I think I read off Slappy232. He didn't like us. Justin from Salt Lake, August 17, 2016. Best MMA show by far, 5 stars. Sam All Jam says it best with his intro. What's going on, family? MMA Junkie Radio is a tight-knit community that takes care of their own, whether you are a caller or just a listener. I've been listening since late 2008 and still look forward to listening every weekday. I can't lie. I do miss the caller intro music and callers like Sam All Jam and Copperheart. Great tribute to Rick, gentlemen, and thank you for making my day that much better. Have we heard that one before?
No.
Yeah. Thanks, Justin, for the kind words.
Thank you.
And I'm sure Sam and Copperheart appreciate that as well. And God, thinking about Rick, that was around the time we lost Rick. Rick from New York, Rick Budo, used to call into the show almost daily. And he's been sorely missed for the last 6 months or so. One more here. Waikiki. No, it's not Waikiki. Walk Like a Duck, 666. I've listened to the show on 3 continents, 5 stars. Been a loyal listener since about 2011 or 2012. I would listen to MMA Junkie on my commute, subway to and from work when I lived in Seoul, Korea. Like I alluded to in the title of this review, I've listened to this podcast on 3 continents, North America, Asia, and currently Australia. Love the banter between George, Goes, and the various producers of the show over the years, the regular callers, and, of course, the wide array of MMA stars that they've had on the show over the years. I can sense the passion that George and Goes have for MMA and for life in general. Keep up the amazing work, guys. You are appreciated. I rotate between a handful of MMA podcasts, but always make sure to catch up on every episode during the week. Rest in peace, Rick Budo. That comes from, again, Walk Like a Duck, 666 on August 28th, 2016. One more?
Sure.
All right. AK Joe, 427 on August 30th, 2016. Northernmost Junkie? He questions. Best show by far. I work at Red Dog Mine in Alaska above the Arctic Circle. I'm always a day behind because there is no live signal here. These guys have the straight dope on MMA. Their opinions on MMA are great. I don't always agree, but that's what makes the sport fun to talk about.
So we're like Nino Brown, and you just got the good stuff?
I guess so, yeah. This next one isn't that long, so I'm going to read it. This one comes from Elegant17, one of my favorites, 5 stars. I can't always catch the show on Sirius, so I listen to it on here. Definitely one of the best, made me a loyal fan out of me. Listen while I'm at work. Oh, he adds, love it when Galley's in studio and talks really loud, and he can be heard over the mics. So, yeah, he added that as well. So there you have it. That takes us through October 5th, 2016. I'll try and catch up on some of the others. Speaking of Galley, come sit here for a few minutes.
Does he have to sit here, though? He's so loud that you could probably just hear him.
Yeah, really. We should just give him the mic over there. How you doing, Galley? Galley from Toronto has been here all week. And he's rocking the one championship shirt. I think that looks good on you.
Thank you.
I think if we would have went smaller, maybe large, you could have been E2. Not a medium, though, right?
Probably not. But did you have a large?
No, it was just XL and double X.
It's all good.
But I think their XL is an L. So I think that's what you're wearing. That's why it looks good on you.
Probably.
This is your last day in Vegas.
Yes, we leave tonight.
Yeah.
So Jen and them are just checking out, and I figured I'd sneak out a bit. She said it was okay, so I came out and said hello to you guys rather than helping her kind of clear the room and everything and check out.
Very cool. Did you go to that concert last night, or?
What, sorry?
Did you go to that concert that I'm overhearing, or no?
No.
No? Okay.
So it's Jen and her friend that went, and then that friend's fiance and myself play poker. So we're at Planet Hollywood we played poker for like 6 hours at least.
Did you win?
I was down, and now I'm just slightly up.
For the trip or for the night?
For the trip.
Oh,
so
very
that
cool.
night was actually pretty good.
Yeah, some big pots, huh?
Yeah, I actually hit 4 of a kind, and they only pay like an extra $50, so it kind of put me over the edge. And at that point, it was already like 3 a.m. So, and I was up. I did a workout and everything, which goes. So it was kind of rough to.
Oh, how was the workout with Ulysses Gomez?
It was fun. Oh, you know what I didn't tell you, Galley? And I don't like to do this, but I videotaped you doing the funky bench press just so you could see what it looks like. So I don't know if you want me to send that to you or what.
Sure.
This is kind of an odd thing to bring up on the show, but the reason I brought it up was, George, if you'd like to see, I could show you a video of Galley working out.
Sure.
Now, nobody else can see it.
Are you sore?
So.
A little bit, yeah. Especially my my rhomboids, your scapula, the muscles that go on your scapula.
What are you, Gorilla Monsoon over here? What's the rhomboids?
It's your push and pull muscles.
Is it near the subsept scapularius muscle or whatever? Does that exist, the rhomboids?
Yeah.
Oh, we did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah. Very cool. All right. Man, it's great to see you all week. And you're coming back for the gathering.
Yes, sir. I figured rather than calling in on the letter of intent day, I was going to be physically here, so I come and tell you guys that face to face.
Give me the picks for this weekend. Who do you like?
I like that parlay that you were talking about yesterday.
You got a fifth one for me?
Well, again, I would go for the long shot.
If that's okay with Muna, by the way, an engineer out there who's questioning the math.
Which is funny.
And Marcel, who really came strong with the facts when he backed up Muna. Oh boy. He might as well just had a drink in his hand, just stood behind Muna and go, he's right. I mean, he didn't say nothing on the thread out there in the combat. Let me tell you guys what happened. So yesterday I was talking about three-team parlays, 4-team parlays, and 5-team. Ghost says I may not be specific enough, so what I've just said without boring everyone to death is if you have a 3-team parlay, everything you win, put it on the 4th team. Don't go up and do a 4-team parlay. You'll take more home. He's right. I probably maybe should break it down a little bit more because for those that don't gamble, they're probably like, what the fuck? Was that Chinese or what was that? But for gamblers, I think they get it. Muna decides to come in and rather than say something along the lines of, George, I disagree. You know, he came in strong with some big words like I was a nut. And
that's not that big.
No.
Huh? That's not that big.
He actually DM'd me this morning, or is it this morning
I'll
or
read it
last
to you.
night?
I have it. I mean,
and
I have to keep Facebook open because of the show.
Yeah.
See if I can find it. But he basically, you know, he cared to DM you. He didn't care to DM me to say, psst, you're off. I'm an engineer. I know math. He said, bitch, you're wrong, blah, 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 something along the lines of that.
I think he did that because I'm not on Facebook.
Oh, you're not?
Don't get
No,
George. Don't start talking about something else, or I'm
Why
gonna
aren't
get
you on
really
Facebook?
mad.
Jen wouldn't let you?
I'm not a big social media person.
Oh, you're not?
The only
You're
reason
on Twitter.
The only reason I have Twitter though is that one time when I asked Frank Mir a question, he says, "Go ask my wife if that's something that she'll allow," and that's why I did that. And from there, it's like, okay, well, might as well follow certain people.
What did you ask Frank Mir?
So there was a Q&A, and he was about to fight Nogueira in Toronto.
Uh-huh.
So during the Q&A, I just asked him. I said I didn't want to scam tickets off you. I already have tickets for Toronto. I want to be there. I'm gonna be there to watch you beat Nogueira for a second time. And I said that to him.
He was just here.
I know. And I told him, can I be a part of your walkout? I just want to walk out with you.
That's it?
That's it. And he's like, I'm not sure I can really do that. And I said, well, you know what? Uriah Faber actually has a contest right now for somebody to win that. And he's like, well, I'm not as popular as Uriah Faber. I'm like, yeah, you're more popular is what I said. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. And he was kind of like wishy-washy about it. He goes, go ask my wife on Twitter at Miss Mir or whatever Jennifer's handle is. Never got anywhere.
The guy was like, all I wanted was the belt. That's it.
Dude, just walking out with him from the backstage.
Yeah, but that's not like, hey, can I have a piece of gum? Like, that's a pretty big deal.
Really?
To walk out with a fighter?
A few people have gotten to put on the belt.
I had tickets, dude. Exactly.
A few people have gotten to put on the belt.
And Dana was cool with that.
But has it happened enough where it's like a common thing? It's a big deal, isn't it?
But guess what? If you don't ask, you'll never know.
Yeah, you'll never know.
True.
What's the worst thing
but
that
it's
you can
not.
say?
But you can't end that sentence with, that's all.
What about
I
Facebook?
never said that's all. But what about Facebook?
Yeah,
like I
how come you're
said,
on Facebook?
I'm just not a big social media person. So the only one I have is Twitter, and that was the only reason why. So in terms of Facebook, I just don't really have much interest in social media in general.
This is what Muna wrote me. He said, can someone please help me understand George Garcia's math on his 3 and 5 team parlays? All right, no problem. I'm good with what he said so far. But then he comes in and goes, I want to call bullshit. Just like I let Budo give his 2 cents on why the earth was flat, I'm willing to hear the logic behind this. Can someone enlighten me? So I thought, all right, you know. So I basically wrote that out. Gal, you're a witness. This one was for Goes, I think. I wrote this one out. I don't know. And I go, all right, I'm going to try and explain this in layman terms. Go ahead and take a picture of that. And let's see here. I said, Muna, you and I both have $100 in our pockets. All right. We walk up to the same betting window. You ask for a 14 parlay, and they hand you a ticket that says they will pay you $1,000, which is true. If he made a 14 parlay on Oklahoma State, Kent State, Ball State, and St. Louis, he gave him $100, they'd pay him $1,000. They'd actually hand him $1,100 because it's your original 100 plus the 1,000.
Plus what you want, yeah.
But if you ask them, how much did you win? You can't say 1,100 because 100 of it is yours. You go, $1,000. If I walk up and take 3 of those 4 teams, they would hand me $600.
Okay.
Plus my 100, I have $700 in my pocket. So now I can take that whole $700, and I'm basically reusing the $100 here. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now I'm walking up with $700, and I'm going to put it on the 4th team and say, all of it, boy.
I see.
All right? So what I'd be doing is doing $700 to win $630, which is this example right here.
Okay.
If I win, well, I have to win because I'm betting the same thing Muna just did, right? So I have to win. So I win $1,330. Minus my original 100, I won $1,230. He won $1,000. Is $1,230 not more than $1,000? Clearly, right? That's why I say it. In MMA, the fights are staggered. So you can watch a fight, see the result, and then run up there and do the 4th fight. In the example I gave, it may work out if the teams are staggered, but if they start at the same time, then you might not have that luxury. But if you have the luxury, which you do in MMA, because there is enough time, then you're ready to roll.
You messed up. You ever seen the movie The Devil's Advocate?
Well, let me finish, though.
It stars you,
Yeah.
and it co-stars him. All right?
Yeah.
I have learned that over the last week. He loves that. So whatever you're about to tell him, expect something back.
Actually, no. I haven't had a chance to really look into this. I just, like I said, I got it this morning. I haven't had much sleep. So I don't have anything right now, so sorry to disappoint you.
There is
Ghost.
nothing for you to have. That's it right there.
It just looks like what's happening is you're wagering a bit more because you're taking, like you said, instead of taking that money out, you're putting it back in.
I'm putting it back in. We bet the 4 same teams, and we started with the same amount.
I think that's the part that people didn't understand over the air. So they think you're comparing, what is it, a 3 parlay versus a 4? Or what?
They can't think that because it's clear that one pays 6, the other one pays 1,000.
There's Muppets. There's Muppets. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Well, yeah.
Now they're going to get it now.
Okay, and so there's one other option here. Stop the music, Danny. Don't be silly. There's one other option here. See where I won 600?
Yes, sir.
I can actually, now I'm holding 700. I can go, you know what? I'm going to protect myself and pocket 100, all right? Because let's say the third fight has happened, and while Muna's sweating the fourth, I go, you know what? I'm going to actually
hedge.
I'm gonna take 100 out of my pocket, and I'm only going to put 600 to win 540. If I win, what do I win? 1140.
Yeah.
That's still more than 1,000. But I had the option that if they lost and Muna loses it all, I keep my $100 play. All right? So now let's go back to this. I explain all this in layman's terms. I'm typing like this just to make sure, I'm not trying to be fancy. I'm spelling everything out. Muna then says, I got you, but sadly, because he's so smart with all his fucking degrees, sadly, the math just doesn't back it up. All right, at that point I started shaking my head. It does. I just did it. I have a calculator back there. It does add up. Trust me, I have a lot of experience on this. Well, then Gabe Killian comes in. Now, Marcel chimes in and goes, Muna's right. That was his contribution. Muna's right. Gabe comes in, and he shows how offline the 4-teamer pays close to 12 to 1. Therefore, betting offshore wouldn't have an advantage. Now, he respectfully says that, and I don't really bet offshore, so I wasn't aware of that. But I'm not talking about offshore because the fucking place is 20 steps away from me. Why would I put a line bet offshore? And who doesn't have a bookie nowadays? I have like 3 plus that, and all of them go by 10 to 1. So maybe offshore they do it. I'm not saying they don't, but at least he came strong with facts. He started posting equations and calculators or whatever. And then at that point is when Muna says, oh, now it makes sense. Offshore. Yeah, well, you didn't catch the part where I said, you and I walk up to the window? Did we say you and I log on and go offshore? No, you and I go up to the window, I explained. We weren't talking about the offshore comparison, but that was Muna's bailout. I'm sure by then he started looking at things and going, oh, shit, I fucked up. Oh, thank God Gabe came in with this. Gabe just pointed it out. It all makes sense. George going on about you. No, fuck no. He had fucked up. If he wants to call in and we can debate it, but these are the numbers. I did it twice. Goes looked at it. He goes, yeah, that makes sense to me. That's what it is. Let's go to commercial. We'll be right back. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93.
Wait for them to ask you who you know. Please don't make any sense.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
We got a couple interviews coming up here, and they're kind of back-to-back. We'll go interview, commercial interview, maybe wrap up the show. So this will be our last chance to say bye to Gally from Toronto. He'll be back for the Junkie Gathering, and it's not too late for you to join the party. May have just signed a 5-star recruit here. I'm working on it via email. So that's what I consider him.
Wow, who is it? Can you
I just
say?
told you.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
we do a radio show, George.
Okay, yeah. Sorry. Ryan from Sacramento.
Okay.
Now, a lot of you might go, who? Rightfully, because a lot of you haven't met him. I got to meet him. He was cool. First impressions, they're important. And
I think somebody else has met him, too. Cause somebody
Kendra, Mike, and, of course, I think many people can agree his calls have been pretty good to the show.
It's funny, yeah.
And, but, yeah, he's cool, man. You can just tell he's a good person. I like good people.
Me too.
So he's thinking of coming out, and we're trying to maybe provide the assist there with a few things that Goes has up his sleeve.
Yeah, let me inquire about that
And
right
so
now.
the Junkie Gathering is May 23 through 27. You can come a few days before, a few days after, but that's kind of like the bulk days. And the closer to the 27th, I'm not going to lie, is a little more expensive. So, in the past, some people have said, I have a graduation on Saturday. Well, then come Tuesday through Friday. Come Monday through Friday. And then bounce. If anything, you're escaping that more expensive day, that hotel day, on Saturday. And some have said, I can't get there in time for the football game on Tuesday. We're playing Extreme Couture and flag football. So then I say, well, show up maybe Wednesday or Thursday and stay through Sunday or whatever. Vegas is always open 24/7. And, there's a few junkies that come early and some stay late, and you all get to have lunch. You won't be left alone, especially if you're coming alone. And I really do encourage, if you're going to bring someone that's going to ruin your trip, then come alone. Risk it. I know if you've never traveled alone, you may go, what the fuck am I getting into? I promise you'll have a good time. Worst thing that happens, you're stuck in Vegas. But nothing's worse than going with someone and then that person just pulling you away. They're not having fun. Next thing you know, you're just wishing you hadn't done it. So anyway, we'll see you then.
Yes, sir.
And then you're out of here today?
Yes.
Your wife's convention's over?
Yes.
Cool. And you made some money, so great trip.
Yeah, overall, hopefully make more, but maybe I'll just stay away. But yeah, based on what you said about just coming by yourself, my first gathering, I knew no one other than you guys. I met you guys a few months before. Came here by myself. I didn't even bother reaching out to room with anyone. But again, you're gonna meet people that are like-minded as you are. So you already have that in common, and it's really nice to put faces to the names of the callers.
Right. Yeah. All walks of life.
Exactly.
Very diverse crowd. And then once you get past, honestly, it can be one of those Trump, Clinton. Oh man. Oh yeah. Who do you like this weekend? Next thing you know, you met your best friend. Gastelum, Belfort, what if he does this? Let's share a parlay. You put everything off to the side. Nobody cares if you're from the south, the north, the east, whatever. It all comes together with MMA. That's what I love. And the show, too. Everybody listens to the show, so that's also another common theme. But I dig it, man. I love it. I'm looking forward to it. So we'll see you then. Are you staying until the end of the show, or you got to skip out here?
I'm not sure. Jen said she'll come over here after they check out.
Oh, okay, cool.
So yeah, I'll just stick around for a little bit and then maybe bounce after the fact.
Cool. Well, then if you don't mind, beat it.
All right.
All
Take
right.
care, guys.
No, I'm just kidding. That's Gally from Toronto. We are now going to talk to Shawn Jordan. I think he's ready to go, right, Goes?
I believe
Jordan
so.
will be fighting Blagoy Ivanov at the WSOF card that's coming up here. Closed the window there accidentally. But I got it all right here. Hang on. Give me 1 second. Shawn Jordan versus Blagoy Ivanov for that heavyweight title. It's on NBCSN. It starts at 11 p.m. and it's on March 18th at the Turning Stone Resort Casino in Verona, New York. What's up, Shawn Jordan? How you doing? You savage, you.
Not much, man. Just hanging out. Kind of just finishing up camp and getting ready to head up to Syracuse next week.
You've done some time at Extreme Couture before. I take it this is one of those times where you couldn't pop in for this camp particularly.
Oh, yeah, no, I was at Extreme Couture's only for Roy Nelson.
Okay.
I went to help him. I was a training partner for him for a little while. However, my last fight, it was kind of a short notice fight. for World Series, and my coaching staff wasn't available to come in. So Eric Nixon from Extreme Couture actually cornered me. So, yeah, it's I mean, yeah, I didn't go this time, no.
Right. In any of those sessions, were you able to ever, maybe spar with him just to get a feel for what Blagoy's like, what he feels like, power-wise or technique-wise?
Because I was new to the World Series of Fighting, just initially, we kind of did not. We stayed away from each other. He took a couple of rounds in the middle between Roy and I. However, I didn't compete with him. I didn't do any training with him.
Okay.
Not because of me or anything. It was just the setting and the timing. I was there to train with Roy Nelson, so I wasn't really putting time with anybody else.
How would you describe how your life's been, I guess, post UFC? Is it all just boiled down to it's still you versus another highly skilled heavyweight? You go in there, you have fun. Is the setting different for you? Like, how does it impact you? How has it impacted you?
Oh, I mean, as far as the fights go, I mean, after the UFC stuff, in the UFC, I was fighting top 20 heavyweights every fight. Very tough guys and pretty consistent guys. The same situation now. World Series are a great promotion organization right now. I don't fight as much as I would like to, so it's a lot harder financially than it was fighting the UFC. But yeah, like you said, it's just me getting in the cage and competing with another athlete again.
Yeah,
and Blagoy's as of far is a pretty consistent competitor.
Yeah, and you mixed it up with everybody, man. At Bellator, Strikeforce, UFC, World Series, that's like a big four right there.
Yeah, I've been lucky enough to get around with and I guess fight and compete for all the major organizations in in the States.
Shawn, did you enjoy your time at Extreme Couture? Is that something that you would ever consider maybe coming back to Vegas and doing the circuit out here for a little bit?
Oh, I loved it there. I think Eric Nixon and President Paxoy are just great guys for me. And I love training with them. Roy's just one of the best guys out there. And he asked me to. He briefly came to America's Top Team, and when we met, we trained some, and he asked me to come out and train for him when he was getting ready for, I think, I don't know, that Derek guy. And so I went out there and trained with them, and yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it, and I mean, I like it out there. And it's new for me too, so it's away from my family. I don't have a lot of friends there, so all I do is train.
When we break down some fights, there's always the standard way is there's always the check marks right next to the fighter, right? And sometimes you'll see speed, power, endurance, those type of things. Are there any of those that you can that you're able to concede to Blagoy? Or do you feel like you're just better than him at every facet of the game?
Well, first of all, he's a champion, and he has gone 5 rounds before. He's been in championship rounds. He's done all the stuff. He's got that experience on me as far as that goes. I've had numerous high level fights and great competition. He's talented. I mean, he's a tough guy. Like I said, he's consistent. As far as comparing he and I mean, we do it differently, but we kind of have the same thought process when we compete. So, or we fight, or whatever you want to call it. So I don't know. I mean, he's tough. He kind of tries to counter-strike some, kind of sits back and wait. I mean, and then when he attacks it. So I mean, he's solid. I mean, I think it's gonna be a pretty good fight, and it should be fun to watch.
Do you like that aspect of it, the whole sitting down and game planning? Some fighters tell us they don't really like to do very much video work. They leave it up to the coaches. Where do you stand on that?
I think at this point in my career, it's probably beneficial for me to do more video, but I don't. I watch some fights, I do some stuff. I get a game plan of what I'm going to do, or what coach and I sit down. Roger Carl is my main coach. We kind of sit down. He watches stuff. He does things, and he'll adjust what I'm doing. But I don't like to put too much into the whole film stuff just to rely on it. Because when you get in a fight, it's a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to fight him like anybody else has fought him. He's not going to fight me like anybody else has, fought me.
That's true.
So we're going to fight differently. We're going to move our combination to be a little different. Now, yes, you can get, tendencies and stuff off of one or two films. You don't need to kill yourself on it. I don't think so.
Shawn.
Now, if it was, yes.
Well, on that same topic, do you ever feel like you won a fight because you've spotted something in video, like a certain combination that you saw and you worked on and you were able to finish a fight because of that?
I won a fight because I was successful at something?
No, so in other words, you saw something in video, right? And you said, you know what? This guy's always open for this particular combination, and you were able to land it because of that?
Yeah, yes, those things are good, but like I said, yes, it makes you feel good, it makes you feel comfortable, it makes you, you see something I see something I know I'm good at, I see him failing, I guess being susceptible to. Yeah, that's all good stuff, but again, I assume that my opponent's going to improve fight to fight.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to take stuff that he's messed up on, he's made mistakes in, and he's going to improve on those and try to change them or fix them.
No, man, that makes sense.
Especially for he and I, we're both two big, powerful, big, kind of heavy-handed lefties, southpaws, which is just different because you don't get to fight a lot of southpaws.
True. You mentioned that you wish you'd had more fights. I'm sure that's something that you've brought up to World Series of Fighting. What do they tell you when you express that to them?
I just wish I'd fight more often. Because, I mean, we, the way this sport works, we don't get paid unless we're fighting. And I have a family and kids that I have to support. But, I talked to, Ray Steffo and I, and, we talk, semi-often, or regularly. He tries keeping the loop of stuff. They're trying to build an organization. They're trying to get, stuff going and trying to get ready to... It doesn't help me. I understand that. But they're trying to get their company ready to where they can have a lot of shows all at once. And they kind of have to put money together to do that. So, it puts some of us in a bad position to not compete often enough.
You think we'll get to the day where you can maybe, if they're out in the open like that about not having as much activity, allow you to go to another organization and compete outside of it too?
I don't know if that's necessarily like the need or what they're planning on doing. I guess on the business side of this, they have to be able to afford all the fights and be able to continue to build their program.
Yeah,
it's their company. If they just keep fighting people and they run themselves into the ground, then we don't have a company. Then all of us are gone.
This is true. All right. Well, what is happening
I don't know as far as that's going. I am not. That's just Ray and them. They're the ones going to handle all that business. I don't know. And if it comes down to it, and I'm not fighting enough, then hey, that's something that let's discuss.
All right. I just got two more quick questions for you. What round does it end, and how does it end? I'm filling out my fantasy fighting card right now for WSOF 35.
Well, I'm not really I'm not a judge kind of guy.
You're not a predictor?
I try to finish fights. I would say second round knockout.
Second round knockout. All right, I'll put it down.
I'm putting mine down too.
Shawn, thanks as always for the time.
I don't really go to the. No, sorry, yes, sir. All right, man.
It's all right. It's all right. Yeah, no, I know what you were about to say. You don't take it to the judges. You ain't lying there. Turning Stone Resort Casino on March 18th. Check out Shawn Jordan versus Blagoy Ivanov. This place is amazing from what I've been told from our friends at Tough Enough and Combate. They've been there before, and now the World Series is landing there on March 18th. They also have two other title fights, Lance Palmer versus Andre Harrison for the featherweight title, and Donovan Freelo versus Bekbulat Magomedov for the vacant bantamweight title. Thanks as always, Shawn, for the time. I wish you a safe camp and safe travels to New York, and good luck on March 18th.
Awesome, guys. Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, take care. We'll see you.
Bye.
That is Shawn Jordan, and we're going to go to a quick break right now. When we come back, we'll talk to Joe Lauzon. UFC lightweight who has just signed on to fight at UFC Fight Night 108. We'll be right back, and you're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM, Rush 93. By the way, his opponent that night is Stevie Ray.
In the summer, to my heartbeat sound.
Charm, compassion, common sense. These guys have none of that. You listen to them, so you're no better. I am awesome, though. They are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Excuse me. All right, we're back. We're now going to talk to Joe Lauzon, who's facing Stevie Ray at a fight night coming up here in Nashville. It's UFC Fight Night 108. Swanson versus Lobov takes place on April 22nd at the Bridgestone Arena, in Nashville, Tennessee. And that card's really coming along nicely with Ally Quinta making his comeback after almost 2 years. He's got Diego Sanchez, local Vince St. Preux, who went to the University of Tennessee. He fights Marcos Rogerio de Lima, Sam Alvey, and Talis Leitis, Brandon Moreno, Dustin Ortiz, Jessica Penne versus Danielle Taylor. So really good card. And they added Joe Lauzon and Stevie Ray. Joe Lauzon joins us now on MMA Junkie Radio. What's up, Joe? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for asking. Joe, this is kind of a late booking, or did you know about it for a while?
Kind of late booking. It all literally came together yesterday. Signed a contract this morning. I get everyone pissed at me because how am I reading about this on online before? Why didn't you tell me? My mom, my dad, my freaking wife. I'm look, guys, it all came together, and they announced it right away. That's the way it goes sometimes, I guess.
Even your wife found out about it online?
Yeah, that.
So I didn't see her too much yesterday. We talked about it being an option, but it wasn't like a set in stone thing. And then I didn't see her much yet last night, and then she called me this morning.
Yeah, I was gonna say Joe's the vault, right?
Yeah, he's either the vault or maybe it's one of those relationships where she's got her wing of the house, he's got his wing of the house, and they just run into each other on Saturday for breakfast.
Before I'm supposed to, but I keep my family in the loop.
Gotcha. There you go. All right, and what made you go, what the hell, let's do it? I mean, at this point, you kind of know what a camp's like. You don't need as much time as before, or
Yeah, so I wanted to fight in sometime in May, and they told me that we have a show May 13th, which is already pretty much full, which is in Dallas, and then after that we're going international until the end of June, and then late June, early July they come back, and I kind of wanted to fight a little before that. I could have waited. I would have been fine waiting. I could have waited. It wouldn't have been a big deal, but I was just kind of thinking May would be a good time for me. And then they're like, oh, we get April 22nd, and I'm like, that's fine. Let's just do that. That's not a big deal. It's only a week. Not a big deal. I generally like having a little bit more notice for fights because I like to really dig into tape and all that kind of stuff. But it's not a big deal. As time goes on, I spar a lot less. I spar for like probably 3 or 4 weeks anyways. So we still got plenty of time. So I'm not sweating it at all.
Mm-hmm. How much time do you spend digging into tape?
It's a good amount. I don't know. I mean, I pretty much so Stevie Ray's had, I think, 5 or 6 fights in the UFC, I think. So I'll probably watch all those fights a couple times each. I'll spend probably, I don't know, maybe like 5 or 6 hours, just kind of looking at stuff and, picking it apart. He, right, looking right off the bat, he seems to be like a little more of a counter puncher, stays back a little bit, kicks a lot more. So it'll be kind of a lot of it. Like I was watching the Ross Pearson fight already, and it just seemed like not a lot happened. Like it just seemed like not a lot happened. There wasn't a lot of action. So it'll be a little monotonous watching this kind of footage, but that's what we'll do.
Do you watch it on computer or TV?
Using the computer. I like jump on my laptop. Just like sit on the couch, laying in bed, doing whatever. Just kind of breaking things down, make some notes. Try to see habits, tendencies. Like we've gotten super extreme in the past, and we don't do this as much anymore. But I had like people running statistics on on people and what combinations they throw and how often they throw it. And, what happens trends at the beginning of the round versus the end of the round versus the first round versus the third round, all that kind of stuff. So we've dug into it pretty deep. We don't do that all the time, but there's been occasions where we have. So we get pretty into it.
After your first glance, when you closed the computer, did you say to yourself, "I got this," or was there a concern like, "Wait a minute here, this guy's no joke"?
No. We just started. So as far as I'm saying right now, this kid is like the biggest monster I've ever faced, like the biggest, worst, guy I could possibly fight, worst stylistically. He's got amazing, striking and great jiu-jitsu and awesome wrestling and everything else. And like, of course, the next 3 weeks, we'll take it all away piece by piece. But right now, he's a killer. He's a monster.
Gotcha.
Fight night, I'm going to crush him.
Joe Lauzon, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. What do you have for Joe?
Joe, the one thing I enjoy about you are the way you break down fights. There's times where you bring stuff up that I don't even think about. Has the Fox desk ever been an option for you? Is that something that you would ever want to do?
It's something I would definitely like doing, and I think I would do a pretty good job at it. But all those guys live out in California. They're out in LA, and like that kind of stuff. So that would kind of be a deal breaker for me a little bit. I'm putting roots down here. I'm not moving anywhere else. Like Joey's, the hospital for Joey's here, and all the doctors and everything else. Like I am not moving anywhere. So I don't know if that would kind of put a kibosh on it and kind of kill those options, but it's definitely something I would like to do. I think I'm pretty good at it. I think I'm pretty good at breaking down film, and I think I've seen a lot of different. I've seen a lot of footage. I've been in a lot of situations. I think I noticed like smaller things that might not seem like they're that important, to someone that hasn't been there as much. But I think that stuff really sticks out to me, which I think doesn't stick out to a lot of other people.
So help me out here, because this is a question that we get on our show a lot, and we go back and forth on it a lot. But I don't know if you've noticed this, but lately, hasn't the word the GOAT, hasn't that been thrown around a lot, attached to a lot of different names? Can you kind of break that down? Like, who do you think it is? Because it's only one person. It can't be. I've heard like 5 different names.
There's so many different people that could be the GOAT. I don't know. I think BJ. I really think BJ. I think that he's had a lot of fights that he didn't come out looking so great, but he's also one of the only guys that will go and jump up 1, 2, 3 weight classes and bounce all around and do all kind of stuff. Like I think that is super impressive. I think it's BJ. There's been some other guys that have been like they've been like really really dominant in their weight class, but they don't really leave that weight class. Like other guys. I think GSP was awesome. I think Demetrius Johnson is great. He just seems unstoppable. But I don't know. Like if Demetrius Johnson was bouncing around like BJ was, I don't think he would do as well. If he tried to jump up, freaking 2, 3 weight classes, I don't think he'd do as well. He's gonna lose fights here and there. But I don't know. There's so many great fighters that you could say are the GOAT. and they'd all be credible answers.
Now, I think I know the answer here to this next question, but a lot of fighters, when they have a bad fight, they'll say, well, hey, I'm not out there to entertain for the fans. And, of course, I'm pointing towards the title fight this past week. There was a lot of people that appreciated it. They said it was tactical. Both Woodley and Thompson are beasts. We know that. But the fans booed. They weren't entertained. A lot of them could care less about the tactics or don't know the tactics. They're going in there to be entertained. From your end, what did you think of the fight that night? Would you say your criticism might even be as harsh as some of the fans? They were booing, and or did you find, I guess, some appreciation in that type of battle?
When you win, the fans are awesome. When you lose, the fans are really rough. And you got to think that a lot of the fans, and not that it should be held against them, but they just don't know what they're seeing as much. So there's a lot of you could be jiu-jitsu stuff, or like I can watch a Damian Maia fight, and it could be like watching paint dry for the average person. But I would pick up on something little he did, and I would think, oh, this is great. It's tough to tell. You don't know. When you're not as knowledgeable about what's going on, sometimes fights aren't as entertaining and they're not as good. For me, I think when you get two guys that are like Woodley and Wonderboy, sometimes it's going to be it's going to be a boring fight. It's going to be a very skillful fight, but it's just not going to be the most entertaining to watch. You want to Woodley was doing great towards the end of the 5th round. Was coming forward, was being aggressive, but if the entire fight was like that, it would have been a great fight. But it wasn't. It's not as a technical fight is not as fun to watch. Sometimes you get two guys on a local show that don't know much of anything, but they just go out there and swing for the fences, and it's more entertaining. It's not as skillful, but it's more entertaining.
And that's
So
something.
there's a difference between entertaining and skillful.
That's a label you've had. You've been very entertaining over the years. It's cost you some blood, some wear and tear on your body, probably some headaches, concussions, some scars. You'll stand. It seems like you've always stood by that, though. Even though, I guess you knew what you were getting into, right? You guys were going to be out there, shooting hitting a volleyball back and forth. The damage was going to be taken when you signed up to be a fighter.
I knew what I was getting into when we did this. I could be sitting my butt having a nice day computer job, but I wouldn't be excited about going to work every day. I love training. I love fight day is awesome. After the fight in particular is awesome. But it's just I love doing it. And there's wear and tear. There's going to be wear and tear in anything you do. So we definitely have it. I think a little bit more than most people, but it's still everyone's got wear and tear. Everyone's going to have they have so much of a career. Whether it's pounding nails or fighting the UFC, so I'm happy with my choices. I'm sticking by them. I don't regret anything. I don't guess anything. It's just we march onward.
What's the coolest thing fans tell you when they see you and they reference maybe a fight?
So I'm impressed when fans remember the smaller moments from fights. When I fought Kurt Warburton, I dropped him with a punch, and then he was kind of he was stunned pretty well. And then, I jumped on him, I ground upon him a little bit, and I hit him with a huge knee to the body as he was trying to get up. And to me, that's the coolest thing. That's by far the coolest thing in the entire fight. It was a short fight, but it wasn't dropping him. It wasn't that was when I jumped into the Kimura, and he was kind of in a triangle Kimura thing, and his shoulder popped, and and it was a really cool submission. But the submission wasn't the cool part to me. It was the knee to the body. And when people come up to me and they'll say they noticed something like that or something little that happened that most people wouldn't even pay attention to or pick up on, that to me is really cool, because that's someone that they remember something very, very small detail, and they were knowledgeable to pick up on it. So for me that's always really, really cool when someone picks up on something like that. Especially when it's a fight that was years ago or a long time ago. I get tons of people that tell me, oh, I've been watching the Polar fight. I love how you knocked him out. And yeah, but and that's awesome. That's great. But that's kind of if they have been watching that long, of course that they remember that finish. But when they remember those really, really small moments, I think that's really cool. That's a super fan, I think.
I'll tell you what, I don't shy away from telling everybody I'm a fan. I'm a member of the media, but I'm a fan. If you and Floyd both went broke, and we know it would take a lot for Floyd to go broke, but if you and Floyd both went broke and I could only help one person, I'd put my arm around Joe, man. I'd go, man, let's go get you a meal or something, because I feel like he's giving me something. He's giving me
That's it? He
entertainment.
doesn't get a bed in your house?
Well, no. Well, let's get a meal first. Let's get some clothes.
Okay.
Let's give him some soap and go take a shower and all that. I'll get you some clothes. But you know what I mean? I really feel there's something. I know the tactics guys may not, they may not, they may say, well, what about the tactics or whatever thing. I guess just my DNA guides me towards that type of fighter. Thank you so much for the entertainment over the years. I got to do something for you. Whatever I have, I would do for you, But I think a lot of people feel that way about you, brother.
And, I love you guys too, and I think it's just, I think it's, and I'm a fan of guys that kind of fight like I do too, like guys that go out there and they leave it all out there. And, I try not to be like, I was saying before, like, sometimes like watching two guys that are really unskilled just go out and brawl are more entertaining than two guys that are super skilled that kind of, have this like tactical battle. But, I try to kind of like blur the lines a little bit. You know what I mean? Like I try not to be like the mindless, no technique guy. I try to be the really technical guy. It's just that if I get dragged in a little bit, then I get dragged in. We can show people a little blood and we can show people we're tough and all that stuff. But that's never like the game plan. That's never like what I'm trying to do. I'm always trying to get in and out and get untouched and everything else. But it just doesn't always happen.
Thanks, Joe, as always, for the time. The show's ending. It's sad, but we have to go. But thank you as always, and good luck on April 22nd.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you. Thank you to Joe Lauzon and Shawn Jordan. It was fun spending time with Gally. Shout out to my cousin Jeffrey. For Danny and Goes, I'm George. We'll see you tomorrow. Be champions.
It cost me my very